In 1991, on a quiet night and with no anomaly predicted, a man disappeared from a small town in the New Mexico desert. Leaving no clues or traces, he simply disappeared. His name? John Doe. There were no signs of a struggle, nor a trace of where he could have gone. However, the mystery did not stop there. 5 years later, John appeared again, but he was no longer the same man who disappeared. He returned, but with an unbelievable story and details that defy all logic. What happened during those 5 years? Was he really abducted by aliens? And more importantly, why didn't he age even a day during that time? It was a summer night when John, an ordinary 34-year-old man, was returning home after a night shift at work. He was passing along a deserted road, a place known for being peaceful and safe. However, that night, something changed. As he rounded a bend, John saw a bright light in the sky, something he had never seen before. He tried to get closer, but when he got close to where the light was, his car stopped working. The first thing John noticed was the absolute silence around him. There was no longer the sound of wind or insects, just a deep, unsettling silence. He got out of the car to investigate, but before he could take another step, a blinding light enveloped him. It was at that exact moment that John felt a strange sensation, as if he were being pulled upward, out of control. The light intensified, and before he could process what was happening, he was taken into a ship. What followed was something he would never be able to fully understand. Inside the ship, John was subjected to experiments and examinations that he could not explain. He felt intense pain, but at the same time, a sense of calm, as if he were in a place outside of time and space. He described strange-looking beings, greenish skin, large black eyes, and technology so advanced that he could not even imagine how it was possible. These beings, he believed, were studying him, perhaps as part of a scientific experiment. They hooked him up to machines, tested his limits, and even tried to extract information from his mind. But, interestingly, he didn't feel time passing. Each day seemed the same as the other, without aging, without eating, without drinking. It was as if he was trapped in a temporal bubble where time didn't exist. During this period, he felt a deep emptiness, but at the same time, a connection with these beings. He tried to communicate, but words didn't seem to be enough. He underwent a psychological transformation, where his thoughts were distorted, and his perception of reality became mixed. He knew something bigger was happening, but he didn't understand what. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, John woke up in a deserted field. The ship had disappeared, and he found himself alone, not knowing where he was. What shocked him most was that, when he looked at his reflection, he realized something impossible. He had not aged a single day during the 5 years he had been missing. The authorities were called, but John could not remember anything clearly. He was taken to a hospital, where he underwent physical and psychological examinations. No doctor could explain why he did not appear to have aged. His health records were normal, with no indication of physical changes. Over time, John began to remember fragments of his experience. He talked about beings, machines, the feeling of being outside of time, but these words seemed incomplete. Some people believe he was actually abducted by aliens, while others suggest he was part of a secret government experiment. The fact is that to this day, the truth about what happened to him remains a mystery. Today, John continues his life, but he will never be the same. He lives with the memory of that night and with the questions that will never have answers. Was he really abducted by beings from another planet? Or was his mind manipulated in some way to create this story? Only he knows, but the truth remains an enigma. The story of John Doe is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. Was it an alien experiment? Or a failure in the perception of reality? If you also wonder what really happened to him, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss more incredible stories like this. See you in the next mystery.